Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quickie and handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor. Now, Andy, we had a big weekend. There was college basketball, NBA basketball. I don't think the NFL did anything crazy. I don't know. We had the World Golf Classic, all sorts of tennis, but really, Will Smith wins the weekend? Or does Chris
Yeah,
Rock
that
win? I
was
can't tell. Jada Pinkett Smith? I don't know. I
like
mean, I woke this morning to all sorts of tweets, and God bless Australian TV for not cutting anything. What an ordeal.
I didn't bet heavy on the Oscars. I didn't bet enough to really even mention it during like just some stuff that I thought would win, and then I always sprinkle some long shots. Like, hey, this guy has a shot. I know there's some late steam on Benedict Cumberbatch, which honestly would have been a real shame if he won because we would have missed out on a speech from Will Smith at that point. But I would not have tuned into the Oscars if it were not for having some small bets on it. Like, I just wouldn't watch that sort of thing. So that was kind of a treat because usually it drags on and you got to sit through these interludes before. Like, I wish they just ripped through all the awards like in 40 minutes. Just list the awards, show the pictures, have somebody stand up there, win an award. Like, I liked how they did it with some of the smaller awards. But yeah, that shit was wild. My wife's like, "Was that did that was that real?" And then I rewound it, and then while I brought the stream up to full speed, then it's bleeped, and yeah, Twitter wins the Oscar award last night. Like, I mean, it's Will Smith, Chris Rock, they didn't win. Nobody else won. Like, all the Oscars combined should go to Twitter. The content last night was fantastic. I was up until like 1 in the morning just laughing at fucking memes. I couldn't go to sleep. Every time I try to like finish up my work for the night, somebody'd send five more to a chat. I'm like, my God, these are all just so good. And so congrats to Twitter. And yeah, the Oscars won because everyone's going to talk about this all week. But no real crazy long shots came in, but a little bit of uncertainty here and there. It's fun to wager on award season. I know you can't do it in a lot of places. I think in the legal books, it's maybe just Jersey is allowing it for FanDuel. So I don't know. We're on to we're on to the draft season. We're on to the end of the college basketball season, and we're on to the NBA playoffs. I'm going to start with college hoops, but I wanted your opinion on this because you were talking about looking at your futures that you had pending, and I went and did the same thing. I didn't get a chance, but because we went live before I got to retort with my thoughts on that. I have a bunch of Toronto Raptors to make the playoffs. Is that you?
Yeah, that'd be me.
Okay, what do we think there? I mean,
I feel
they're
pretty good.
playing
I
the
feel pretty
tournament for
good
sure,
about that.
right?
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Actually, they're the 6 seed right now. They're a game ahead of Cleveland. They finally got ahead of them, so we're in good shape. They just gotta ride out that lead.
So they either need the sixth seed would cash it,
Hmm.
or winning the 7-8 game, or losing the 7-8 game and then winning the next game. So like
Yep.
they would need a lot. Well, I shouldn't jinx it. We're gonna knock on things here. As I'm sitting and saying all the ways that they could lose, but all right. So I'm sitting in good shape on there. Otherwise, yeah, my college or my NBA futures not sitting too bad. Just need Tyler Hero to continue to be a very good player. I think that one's solid. Bones, I don't think is winning Rookie of the Year, but fuck it, that was a huge number. He just
He
didn't
looks
get the use
great the
of it.
last couple weeks. He just needed the minutes, and again, it's probably should have known a little bit more about Mike Malone and how he treats new players. I think it took Bones a little while to learn the defensive schemes, and that's probably why he hasn't gotten minutes until recently. Because I mean, you watch him play; he's electric on that team. He's exactly what they need.
Yeah, I see. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I see all this social media buzz around him where people are like excited about him now. So I don't know. Whatever. We take our shots. At big numbers like that, we take our shots. And I'll always be thanking Alex at the end of the year for some of this stuff because I think I'm gonna end up on the right side of history with the NBA futures bets. But
A
yeah,
lot of
before we
Memphis
get
bets that are going to go well, especially John
yeah,
Morant, MIP. So
this is true. Although I
that should
might
be
have to
something.
cheer against him in the playoffs if it's
I
up
don't care
against
at
my
that point.
Slumber Puppies. I'm all in. I'm a fan again. Going to the Target Center, which also, did you know the women's Final Four is at the Target Center?
I have no idea. You going to go?
Well, I don't think. I bet I could pull 9 out of 10 people would have no idea if I walked around town hey, the Target Center is the women's Final Four, just getting no publicity. Maybe that Buick commercial's right, but um, I don't know. I'll see how much tickets are. See if the daughter wants to go watch some basketball. I'm thinking, like, you want to see some high, like, there's a lot of bad games to start the women's college basketball tournament. The parity is different than the men. Like the level from a 1 seed to a 16 seed, that gap is maybe 2x with from some of these men's games. It's really bad early on. But these high end teams, once you get to the final, these games are always good. So maybe that's something I need to do. But we don't have the Final Four yet, but we do have the Basketball Classic semifinal tonight. This is late. This is in Fresno. This is a home game for Fresno State. It'll be Southern Utah, which is not too far, I guess, from Fresno. Still a Western team, but I just ran my numbers. Like I haven't dug too deep into it. I looked a little bit to make sure there weren't massive injuries or something I was missing. I double checked to make sure this was indeed a home game, because if it were not, then my edge would have been way bigger because I was projecting these as home games rather than neutral sites. So, in the college basketball classic, is that what we're calling it? I just said it. The basketball classic. So, not the CBI, not the NIT, but the basketball classic semifinal tonight. Southern Utah Thunderbirds +7. I think they probably lose this game, but I have this a lot closer than, I don't know, the seven that was out there. There's some 7.5s early on, and total's probably just about right, honestly, from what I have. So looking at some Thunderbirds tonight, and probably some Final Four action once we get later in the week.
I like it. I can dig it. A little college basketball. I was not expecting college basketball to be today. I have to forget about those lesser tournaments, if you will, the lower events. But that's fun. Good for them. A little something, little action in the college ranks.
I had a different bet to start because my scraper wasn't working quite right. And it said, "Hey Andy, you should really bet Saint Bonaventure +9.5." And I'm like, well, that's like that. My edge was obscene. So I go to the sports book and it's St. Bonaventure -2. That's why things weren't
That
scraping
makes
quite
more
right.
sense.
So yeah, it made a lot more sense once I realized my number was 11 points off the actual market for what it was pulling in. I don't know. I hit refresh and it fixed it. So I'm
I was
not
gonna say,
betting
how did
St.
it grab
Bonaventure
9
again.
instead of 2? That's weird.
9.5 instead of, and plus 9.5 instead of -2. 11.5 points off, which you'll always find value if you can find that sort of rogue number. I
Yes.
guess
If you can find a number that's 11 points off market, you should bet it.
you should always bet it. The association then, right down to it here. We're getting there. Maybe what, a week and a half or so, but you got a side and a total for me tonight.
9 games tonight. Like you said, we have about 10 or so games left, less than 10 games for some of these teams. Again, a couple weeks left as things get really interesting. Again, Toronto just popped up to the 6 seed. The Cavs continue to tumble. They're like a game back. You look in the West, the Lakers are right on the edge there, the playing game. The San Antonio Spurs resurgent, only a game behind Los Angeles. So things are starting to get pretty interesting. It's going to be a fun last week or so. Tonight, again, has just become sort of tradition here the last couple days. It's really hard to figure out who's going to play, what's going on. Thank you to Brett in the chat for the update. Looks like Robert Williams has a torn meniscus, so adjust all your Celtics numbers accordingly. Apologies to American numbers, who I know is very high on the Celtics and anybody, but I think it will be all right if all our Celtics Atlantic Division futures are probably okay. But 2 wagers tonight out of a handful of games. We'll start with the Orlando Magic +9. They lose as favorites and they cover as underdogs. Now, that isn't necessarily a thing, but I think we're just getting some value here, given they lost the last couple games as favorites. I think it's strange for a team like that to be favorites, and the race for the top 3 odds for the number 1 pick is starting to tighten up. I know I mentioned they adjusted the odds, so 1 through 3 are the same, but Oklahoma City basically hasn't won a game in a month and now is starting to get very close. So we have Detroit, Orlando, Oklahoma City, and Houston all kind of competing for the best lottery odds there. Did I say Detroit? I think I said Detroit. Anyway, but the teams are starting to get a little closer, so I think we might actually start to see some more tanking. Either way, 9 points is just a huge number here tonight. They go to visit a Cleveland Cavaliers team, who, again, as I mentioned, is just tumbling like a rock down a hill here at the end of the season. It's tough. Jared Allen's hurt. Evan Mobley is starting to look like, the length of the season might be getting to him a little bit. We see that with rookies towards the end of the year, and just having all those guard injuries. It's tough night in and night out for Darius Garland to be really the only guard on the floor, even when LeVert's there. He's, again, a little more of a shooting guard than kind of a distributor and someone who can bring the ball up and do stuff. So happy to go against the Cavaliers and happy to have the Magic now as nice big underdogs back again where they should be. I have this closer to 6, so anything 9 or better looks good on Orlando. And then the Warriors and the Grizzlies. The Warriors continue to just kind of get beat up without Steph Curry. They've really struggled here. The Grizzlies are without John Morant. He'll be out for the rest of the regular season. Should be back for the playoffs, we hope. He's got some knee soreness. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but he'll be reevaluated. This is the lowest Grizzlies total since February 2nd. We have not seen a Grizzlies total below 224 since February 2nd. And you go back and look, there's hardly any games that they go below this number. I know that the Warriors have struggled to score. Maybe they'll try to slow this game down a little bit, but I don't really know what I'm missing here. As I start to look and play with some stuff here, I got this as low as maybe 225, but it just a Grizzlies total here, 221. I'd start to see some 222s. I think anything 223 or lower is worth playing over here. Again, the Grizzlies without John Morant, we've seen they have a ton of depth. They continue to push pace, and although the Warriors might struggle to score points without Steph Curry, there should be enough possessions and pace in this game for Andrew Wiggins to get enough points here. I thought about a Grizzlies team total over instead of maybe playing just this over, but again, this is a really nice spot where there should be a bunch more points.
Yeah, and you wonder too, like if this goes awry, neither might, it might not make a difference. Like if the Warriors don't cooperate and score enough points for the total, you might be in an end of game situation where the team total doesn't get there anyway because of the blowout scenario. So we just need the Warriors. We need the Warriors to they're all professionals. Like Steph Curry's important, but the rest of the team is professional athletes. Let's get
Big
100.
Jordan Poole night. Come on.
Let's get 110 out of them. That's a big ask, maybe.
We're cruising. We're cruising.
We're cruising. I'd take 106. I'd take 106 out of them.
Okay, that's fair.
So I have no idea what the team total is. I don't know what the spread is. I'm close. I feel like I'm probably close.
You're in the range. It's about 11.
We're in their range. Valero Texas Open, another tournament in Texas. So half the field that was in the Dominican heads to Texas. Most of the golfers who want to play this week, who are over in Austin, will head to San Antonio for the TPC San Antonio TPC course. So you can see some names who do well on TPC courses a little higher. And, there's some decent names here. Spiethos plays this because he's a Texas guy. Rory hasn't maybe never played the Valero Texas Open. Either that or it's been like 10 years. Like I remember he committed to this a couple months back, and it was a bit surprising because it was one of those cases where he either hadn't played for quite a while or just hadn't played this one ever the week before the Masters. But I'm not sure what he's doing using it for a warm-up. This is where things maybe get a little interesting with top players who have bad first rounds. If they want to sit and scrape together and really push to make the cut in a tournament that really might not mean much to their pocketbooks if they're not going to be competing in the weekend because they're already super rich and they're already in the Masters 8 different ways from Sunday. I'm going to put an article out on that because I think that's the most interesting part of the most interesting part of the Masters is like
it's a huge part of tennis.
How people got in, because there's some guys like
how people got in.
Yeah, off the bat, like finishing in the top 12 of the Masters the year before puts you in. So, I mean, there's some guys that could be struggling, but they just had a good 4 rounds last year. Or, I want to say it maybe Guido, I can't never say his last name. Guido. No, not tennis. But there's a golfer. There's a Guido golfer now. Not Guido Pea, but Guido Miglozzo. He had a really nice final round at one of the majors last year. Ended up shooting a 68, birdied the final hole to put himself into a tie for 4th. And the top 4 at that event is an automatic entry into the Masters, including ties. So like he meets no other criteria. He has no wins. He's not in the top 50 in the rankings. He doesn't have anything that would put him in. But that one, that final round at whatever major it was, I'd have to go back and look, where he finished fourth, got him an invitation to the Masters. And that is the case too, where Corey Connors won this event 3, 4 years back, and he punched a ticket to the Masters. He wasn't in. So I mean, you see a lot of big names at the top, and I feel like almost everybody on the, near the very top of the board is already in. But if you are not in the Masters, you can win this event and get in. Like it has happened. Corey Connors got in by winning this event when he was a younger player. Obviously, he's a lot better golfer now. So that's always an interesting storyline come Sunday, even if it's a lesser tournament. I don't have any bets yet. I'm working on it. I'm going to mostly stick to matchups this week, as outrights are not my forte. I'll stick to that for Masters. I'll probably be putting some Masters bets out earlier than later as well. I might have a couple outrights for Augusta this week. But as you can see, the top of the board here, and if you're listening to it on the podcast, I don't know. Go follow BetSperts Golf. We tweeted out the odds as well. You can check it out there.
So what I was going to ask is, you're talking about kind of the week before the Masters. Is there any sort of trend or, value in fading some big players the week before? Again, I was thinking about tennis again, where before Grand Slams, it's one of the best angles. I mean, if you've got a small tournament and somebody is going there, I mean, you just can almost cross them off the list.
Yeah, I don't know. There have been some decent winners here. Like Jordy won this, but I mean, he needed to get going. He was in a weird part of his career where he needed to kind of get things going again. There have been some weird finishes, but like I said, they didn't play it 2 years ago with the pandemic. But you go back and like Andrew Landry won this, and I'm like Charlie Hoffman, who not only won this like 5 years ago, he finished second the last two outings. So he's moved way up the board for some people here. I still think his number is a little ridiculous, but you will see big names win this occasionally, and it hasn't always been the week before the Masters either. I don't think so. Just recently, it has been, and you did see Jordan Spieth win this last year. I feel like that's a big enough name. So, like I said, maybe if you see someone playing poorly on Friday, or excuse me, Thursday, where it's like, hey, they're gonna really have to scrape and grind and really play hard to get through this cut. Sometimes those names I feel like don't play so well. Maybe you can take advantage of that in a daily matchup or daily props, prize picks, what have you. So I'll be looking at that on Friday. Otherwise, some of these guys just want to go play some good golf and get a few more rounds in before Augusta.
Yeah, that's something to look at. Again, I'm always curious because motivation's huge, and it's a little different, I think, in golf because eh, maybe the payout's a little bit better, and making the cut is kind of a bigger deal. And then you play solid, you make the cut, and then maybe you kind of lag those next 2 days because you're trying shit because you've already made it some money. It's just an angle I wonder if anybody knows anything about.
Yeah, it's not a huge purse, but it's still a full event, like an $8 million purse. So, I mean, the winner still takes 1.5 mil home. Not not some of the event money we've seen recently, but it's still a good purse if you want to make some cash. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes this week. I'll be betting it every day. You don't have a small event. You're still on a big event. We're still running in Miami, closing out
Second
with some
week,
tennis here.
Yeah, second week of Miami's going. We've still got Danielle Collins, and we've still got Coco Goff. Now, some big matches. Coco's got Iga. We'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, if there's ever a chance to take down Iga, here would be it. Collins has got your board today. We'll see if we can get those two through. We do have one bet, though, actually in Miami. And then, Andy, I know you love the smaller events. Do you know where
Yeah.
Marbella is?
MAR. So it's a soft L. I
That was good. You noticed that.
don't want to say France then. Is it Spain?
It is. Well done. The double L is a Y is Spanish. We are in Marbella, Spain, but we'll get to that in a second. WTA Miami. This one starts this afternoon. I believe it's about an hour or so after we wrap up. It looks like Allison Risk is going to play Naomi Osaka. And as weird as it feels to bet on Allison Risk, she's had a fantastic start to the year. And these hot conditions are something that have bothered a lot of players, but historically have not bothered her. I'm going to continue to play her. I think her serve is going to hold up really well and has held up really well in these slow conditions. She's plus 275 and plus 4.5 games against Osaka. I have this closer to, 3.5, 4, and closer to maybe 210, 215, maybe 220. I don't know. It's kind of not a big difference when you get up to that number, but 275, 4.5 games. This looks like a really nice spot. Again, we've seen Osaka kind of struggle physically as she gets later in tournaments. I haven't been super impressed by the way she's played, and again, risk is just kind of on a high point. So I'm going to keep trying to ride her while she's playing well, and I'm sure we'll be back to fading her soon. Now, Marbella, Spain. This is one of those 125Ks. It might be listed as a challenger under your book. Who knows what it actually is, but you should be able to find it. These matches all start 4 a.m. or later, 4 a.m. Eastern or later. So you've got some time. These will be kind of wake up and watch situations. Anna Bogdan playing Donna Vekic. Donna Vekic's first action since the Australian Open. Bogdan generally much more comfortable. Now, this is a surface change, Andy. We're on clay now this week. It's clay season is started. We still have Miami, but all the challenger events, I believe, are clay this week. There might be some hard.
Miami is just the purple clay.
Playing slow. I don't know if it's quite that slow, but. So yeah, nice spot for Bogdan here. Generally much more comfortable on clay. Has been playing tennis recently. Again, Vekic hasn't played since the Australian Open. It's been a while, and again, she's still working back from some injury from late of last year. Happy to lay the games here. You can see -2. I've seen -2.5. If you can find a -3 for plus games, which a couple offshores will let you do, go ahead and grab that. And then a Katarine Gorgat. This is kind of betting. This is one of the lines that made very little sense to me, Andy. She's playing Varvara Gracheva, and based on what I can see, Gorgat has at least a 10% better hold break on clay, a much better record on clay, has been playing better tennis, actually winning matches where Gracheva has been playing. But Gracheva's like a -450 favorite, and I'm not going to tell you what I make it, but it's nowhere near that number. And happy to scoop up +320 here. Now, as excited as I am to do that, it's a clay tournament. It's kind of early, so I did only put half a unit on this, whereas a lot of times I will kind of take a full swing at some of these big numbers. And it is so far off, I just wonder if somebody knows something that I don't. But it opened north of +400 last night and has been pushed all the way down to 320. Again, I'd play this honestly anything +250 or better. So go ahead and grab +300 now. So we'll have one match this afternoon in Miami, and the other two should be nice and early while you're waking up.
So that one is middle of the night. So not only should I bet it, but then I take all my Warriors over money and then rebet at a. We'll see what the number
Exactly.
does. If it's still over 3-1 when I go to bed, is that a West Coast game? That game might not finish before Andy goes sleepy.
I think it's actually at 8:00 because they're in Memphis.
Oh shit, I can live with that. Yeah, we're definitely reinvesting that though. All right, cool. Bunch of picks today. Good way to start a Monday. Yeah, good way to start a Monday, I think. A little basketball, a little pro basketball, a little tennis. Sorry, I don't have anything golf yet. It's still early in the week, man. I just got to get my head around. Yeah, they're not playing golf till Thursday, so I will have some golf to bet tomorrow for sure as we start to.
It's annoying we have to wait until Thursday.
Yeah, you know what you could do.
Low-key spoiled.
If you want to bet the Masters early, yes, you can. But if you want to get a really good number, you could check out our title sponsor, PropSwap, where, again, I've explained this numerous times, but with the 100% deposit match, you essentially can get your first ticket that you buy on PropSwap for double the odds. If it's a $200 ticket that pays out $1,000, you only have to deposit $100. So you can buy that ticket with your 100% deposit match. It's now a 10-1 ticket instead of a 5-1. Go ahead and get yourself some Masters tickets on there. If you have some tickets to sell, you can do that too. Promo code BetSperts gets you the $100, $500 if you want,
up to
100% deposit match, up to $500 when you deposit. If you have questions, hit me in the DMs. I'll guide you along, but I'll have some information in the show notes and on the YouTube notes. And with that, call it a Monday. Thanks, guys. It's a thumbs up.